So it is the first week in September 2025. Trying to do a tour today. It's tour CBus. It's from Yay Bikes. I had a couple, here comes a bump. Had a couple competing options today. One was a Simon Kenton tour. That's the one that's up in Urbana. I did that twice this year. I really enjoyed it, but couldn't resist the home field tour. Not feeling the greatest today, so we'll see how it goes. Also, I'm late, which is just perfect for a tour. They're doing this a couple ways. You can go out on your own on Ride with GPS. They're also taking groups out. Seeing some more people here. Oh, this looks good. This looks like the check-in, so I will check out. So by the time I got started, everybody was ahead of me, a couple minutes. So there was a time period where I was doing a lot of catch-up. That's always interesting to ride from the back of a tour to overtake people. You see a lot of people with mechanical problems and, probably shouldn't have went out with the first group. But it was the only group. I eventually made contact with everybody. To be honest with you, I had actually considered, it was a big debate on whether to tour at all. This is my first tour in about 20 years. It's something that I did when I was younger, when I was primarily a road cyclist. Now I've the type of cycling I do is different. It's more about comfort, it's more solo. So it was kind of a big decision to even do a tour. If it hadn't been only 30 miles and on the home field, as I like to say, I probably wouldn't have done it. So it was an experience for me doing this one. And I got to tell you, it was a positive experience. So this first section, we're riding downtown. We actually went across the Rich Street Bridge to start. So, I'm familiar with the area. I'm not familiar with riding downtown. They didn't close any of the streets for this tour, which is kind of interesting. So some natural gaps tend to occur. Probably about, I would guess, maybe 200-300 cyclists out on this first group. I don't know how many joined later in the day. So the groups get split up pretty easily because of the lights and the like. So at this point, we're on Broad Street. We're heading east. We're straddled between the King Lincoln neighborhood, I think that's the north, and the Old Town East neighborhood. Right to my left is, I believe it's the Broad Street Presbyterian Church. That's pretty impressive. You can see they have one dedicated lane here for cycling. It's semi-protected. I felt pretty safe on it. The lane is going with traffic. On the other side, there's an opposing lane going with traffic as well. To the left here is Columbus Brewing Company. It's a beer hall. We are just south of Franklin Park at this point, Franklin Park Conservatory. So you can kind of look at this neighborhood. You can tell that there's some things going on here. There's a mix of new and old construction. We'll take a left here in a second. We'll go right up and we'll be adjacent to Franklin Park Conservatory. That is a great place to spend a day if you've never visited. It's pretty spectacular. The conservatory inside and the outside grounds, they're just awesome.
If I get hit, I want it to be by Mercedes. I feel like they could pay the insurance. Yeah, I got hit by a Festiva or a Yugo, something like that. Yeah. Mercedes, it would probably be a doctor who'd refuse to treat me, a lawyer who would sue me. Yeah, I didn't think that through.
Yeah, she's like secretly classic.
This is a new bridge for me. The date on this bridge was 1922, which is, the last date that I enjoyed riding over bridges.
All right, so at this point, we are probably at the outside of Wolf Park, which borderlines Bexley. We might be on part of the Alum Creek Trail. We just crossed Alum Creek. And I'm none too sure what's going to happen here on the right. Am I passing nuns? Is that what this is? I don't know. I'm not sure, but that definitely has to make the cut. So at this point, I'm positive on the portion of the Alum Creek Trail. The Alum Creek Trail here is part of OTET, so a lot of people are probably familiar with this section. It's kind of nice when you're doing one of these tours to be on dedicated trail for a while. And I think the organizer of this tour did a great job of actually varying up where you were riding. So I'm pretty sure this is Hudson Street. I got myself stuck in the middle of the road, which wasn't a real great move on my part.
Gonna bleed in right here, hopefully, and not make anybody bleed. I did it.
This is in the Linden neighborhood of Columbus. The Linden neighborhood doesn't have a real great reputation. It's a lower income, probably a little bit higher crime. I was happy to be with a large group cycling here. You can see that at this point, I think it's two dedicated lanes going into traffic, and we're only protected by a curb. I got to tell you, from a riding position, this one didn't feel as good as it did on East Broad. Ultimately, we crossed back over 71 on North Broadway, and this is kind of the entrance, or one of the entrances into Clintonville, which is pretty neat. And the best part of the tour is coming up here in just a second.
I get my money back.
So this is Walla Halla Road. It runs in between Indianola and High Street. You can tell that it's just something different. I've never been on this road before. My son has ran it on occasion. There's a stream off to the right. There's a lot of contemporary homes. The views are really great. And plus, it seems like it's downhill like 90% of the time.
Wow.
Upcoming is Calumet Bridge. You'll see it up above here. There are a couple urban myths or ghost stories associated with Calumet. Apparently, the story goes there was a man who came home from work, killed his wife, beheaded her, and rolled her head down the ravine. Then he hung himself from the bridge. I don't know if that's true. It's just a story that's been told over and over again. You can find it on the interwebs. So there's a couple things I struggle with when I'm making these videos. One, is it okay to actually film other people that I'm not with? And I think I've decided, yeah, that's okay. But my camera is mounted, it's not inconspicuous. I mount it kind of high so people know that I'm filming. The other thing that I struggle with, is it okay to record people? And I went back and forth on this. Most of my comments are kind of to myself, or you can't hear the other part of the conversation. So I decided I would go ahead and leave it. I'm kind of curious as to what you think. Well, hats off to the organizers of this ride. At this point, we are, west of High Street, and to me, this certainly seems like an alley. So very varied as far as places where you ride. We're going to ride here in this part of Clintonville for a while, and then we will come up on the Whetstone Park of Roses, or the Whetstone Park, for our first rest break or a rest break. I just really like all the different neighborhoods we've been in. So here's Whetstone Park. It was a great place to take a break. I had some snacks there, some water. We look, or we rather hook into the Olentangy Trail, and unfortunately my nemesis, and if you've seen any of my other videos, my nemesis, this bridge is coming up. People were dropping like flies on this bridge, so it's just not me who struggles with this bridge. It's just super narrow. It's going a lot better for me now that I'm not clipping into the pedals. But if you watch this bridge, you're crossing over the Olentangy, and then your river, and then you're crossing over 315, and then it just tees into a sidewalk before you go back onto the street. It's kind of difficult to navigate, but again, it's getting better for me. So at this point, we're in a neighborhood that's adjacent to Upper Arlington. The pole leaving here, you're actually coming off the Olentangy Trail and the Olentangy River, and it's a gradual uphill, and you have to cross these railroad tracks. Pretty much when you cross the railroad tracks, you're in Upper Arlington. This is an area I ride quite a bit, but it's kind of this slow uphill grade that can be kind of tough. This is maybe the highest point of our ride. Then we turn left down onto Lion Drive, I believe it is. Here's a few photos from Upper Arlington. We pass through Upper Arlington, and then we also pass through Grandview, or the tour does rather, and then we go down and we are on the Scioto Trail, and we will take the Scioto Trail back into downtown. This is a newer bridge crossing over the Scioto River. I don't know if it's newer, but it was redone this summer and closed for much of the summer. When you cross over the Scioto River, then suddenly you're going into downtown, and you get these spectacular views as you're crossing into downtown, the steel bridges and the skyline coming into play. I really enjoyed this tour. I think they do a great job of changing up the neighborhoods that you go through and the type of surfaces that you travel over. The tour starts in Franklinton, it ends in Franklinton, it ends at a brewery. I kind of have a crush on Franklinton at this point. I've just really kind of discovered it this summer. You can kind of take a look at some of these pictures of the brewery. They had an area set aside where you could watch the game after the ride. And as I kind of rode around, I kind of took in some of the art and the skyline from Franklinton, and I just discover something new every time that I'm there. This is a Black Lives Matter building that's been, they've done the art for that. This next building coming up, I'm not sure, what the focus is or what the message is. I think, maybe they're saying we're all part of Earth. I don't know. And this was just kind of fun. I saw this. And this view of the skyline of Columbus, this photo is not manipulated at all. It's just spectacular, and it was right there at the end in Franklinton. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, follow, share, all that stuff. But more importantly, I hope this inspires you to go out for a ride. Have a great day, everybody.